also like that despite acknowledging that nothing came out after he went to the bathroom in his astral form, he still flushed the toilet.
You'd think they have a bidet. Oh wait, you still need a flush toilet though. Never mind.
Yes, you still need a flush. Have you ever used a bidet?
No, I've never shot water up my butt.
Okay. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I don't know if it's just like the mental block of like I don't want a jet of water to like shoot me in the anus, but like everyone I've heard talk about like having used a bidet only has good things to say about it. So like maybe it's not as I feel violated as I'm thinking it will be.
I mean, like after a short while, you'll probably just get used to it.
Right.
Like it's just like Poseidon's kiss, Nick. Just you know you're doing it yourself.
It couldn't be any worse than the three clams from whatever the fuck that movie was.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, thank you. I knew it wasn't Time Cop, but I was like, that's all I can think
Yeah,
of right
it's
now.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and what's his Snipes?
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. Whatever, a big buff white dude.
Yeah.
Was
So
what's
this is
his...
Stallone and was it Wesley Snipes?
No,
Or was it the other one?
the other black actor.
The other black actor from that like era. Which I mean quite literally he was the other black actor. If it wasn't Wesley Snipes, it
Oh
was
yes, I was right. It was Wesley Snipes.
was it Wesley Snipes? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Simon Phoenix is his name. Versus
Okay.
John Spartan. Simon Phoenix is a better name, in my opinion. Cooler name.
Yes. Absolutely. But yeah, those three fucking clam shells. I guess they weren't clam shells, they were just like generic seashells.
Those are clamshells.
Well, I always think clam shells. I guess I think of them more as like mollusk shells, but they're very like oblong. I guess you're right. They are clam shells. Clams can live in basically any shell that opens like that.
I thought they
Plus, that's how you
created
get
that shell,
pearls. Yeah,
right? How do they create the pearls? Is it like their mucus or something, or like their?
it is something to do with like they a grain of sand or something, and like they slowly, yeah, like their mucus like hardens around it or something. It's something like that.
Okay.
Where it's very it involves the clam being alive and like having something in there to like work off of as a base.
Okay. Weird.
Yeah.
But like, anyways, let's just talk about Nana. There's no fucking segue into this. Let's just fucking go to it.
All right.
It's
If
episode.
we had to find a segue, I was going to ask you about what stupid power you're going to have, but then we got distracted talking about clams.
Oh, I remember some of my coworkers asked me whether I would want to be able to fly or to be able to be transparent, and I said I'd have half of both. So I'd be able to levitate, but be kind of translucent. So I'd be a ghost.
Okay.
That would be my power. Is I would just be a little ghosty.
Be a living ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, I can respect that.
My coworker gave me the side and said I was an idiot.
I mean, he's an idiot. He doesn't see the advantages of being a ghost. Danny
um,
Phantom has shown me anything. So the ability to go ghost is amazing.
See, but like, I would too often try to go through walls because I would think I'm a ghost, and I would just hit myself on the wall. How else could I guess I could like haunt people. I could like put on, I guess it depends whether or not my clothes become translucent. I'm gonna say it does.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna put on a ghost costume and then just haunt people and scare them.
Okay. So you're going to dress up like a member of the KKK, is what I'm hearing.
No. I would dress up in a scream mask. I'm not gonna dress up like one of those fucking stupid pointy hat masks.
Okay.
I
I mean,
have
when you said
taste.
when you just said dress up like a ghost, I just imagined you with a bedsheet over you and like holes cut out for your eyes.
That's because you're white,
Which
Nick.
how is that because I'm white?
Anyways,
What
I
does
would
it
get
have to do with being white?
I would get a ghost costume, and I would haunt people, and I would film their reactions.
Uh,
Or I'd start up a YouTube channel about a ghost finder, and I would fake everything. But
right.
because because like I look like a ghost, people think it's real
Mhm.
or photoshopped, either or.
It's your boy, the ghost here.
Either way, I try to find a way to make money off of it because
I
obviously I
think
can't
the
steal
better
shit.
way to go would be to make a YouTube channel in which you've hired a ghost hunter and it's from your perspective as the person fucking with them, pretending to be the ghost. So
I
it's
think
just like
that
a camera as you like haunt them as they try and hunt you down.
is gone sexual.
God, sexual.
That's my power. I'd be a little ghosty ghost. What would be your power,
Okay.
Nick?
Um, who? I would have a second personality that lived in my head, but they had like their own body, so when they took over, like everything about me changed, but we didn't interact in any way, shape, or form. Mostly so that when I was in imminent threat of being in danger, I could just become them and they could take like all of the beating for me, and then I could come back to being me and I'd be okay. So mostly I just want a punching bag.
This
I want
is
to be able to live in my own mind as someone else gets beaten up.
this is essentially the episode, the sitcom episode of Mr. Robot.
Yes, exactly.
It's still his
That's what I
body,
want.
though.
It's still his body,
Yeah.
which is the problem. But other than that, yes, that's exactly what I want. I just want to live in that moment forever.
I can't get over just the smile that Angela has over her dead
And her
mother.
dead mom's body. Yeah. I like that
Man
it
in the
dissolves
trunk.
into crying at the end.
Guest starring Man in the Trunk.
I
Anyway,
like that he breaks out halfway through that episode, too.
I think the best part is that he just starts trying to like jump away from everyone else, and then he hits the green screen.
Yeah. Uh,
All right.
Alright,
Let's
that
talk
was a
about.
solid. Let's talk about Nana and
Let's
some,
talk
some
about.
people with not shitty superpowers.
I mean, some of them pretty shitty superpowers.
Some of them do, but some of them don't. There's definitely like those who have, and there are the haves and the
Yeah.
have-nots.
Yeah. There's
If
also
Moriarty was in this world, he would also be on the side of Nana, killing all of them,
yes.
but mostly prioritizing those assholes who got good powers.
Yeah. This is episode 117, I think. If I'm wrong, it'll be titled something different.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and talk about Nana. We watch episode 9 of Nana.
he's Eric. I did it.
Yeah,
Wow, I
didn't
did
do
it. Fuck me.
That's my twin
Oh
brother.
my god, that hurt. That hurt me on the inside. Oof.
All right. Well,
All right.
anyways,
I'm Nick.
yes, and I'm Brandon.
There we go.
This is
Wow.
the club.
Oh, that hurt a lot. That hurt more than I'm willing to say. Oh
Alright,
god.
well.
Okay.
In this episode, we investigate the dead body that we found last episode.
Yeah.
Kiryu has a couple of theories. He asks basically the entire group, "Hey, what did y'all do last night?" So you can kind of get as much information as you possibly can.
Yep.
At some point after doing all of this, Kiryu is also able to talk to the administrators of the school, of which Nana remarks, "Good luck getting anything out of that." But it seems that something did come out of it, because at the end of this episode, I believe, Kiryu mentions that the administrators, or at least there's a shipment coming in.
Yeah, the teacher shows up and mentions that they're sending in like backup
Yes.
or some sort of like security personnel from HQ.
Some other side things that happen in this episode is that Crazy Mystique Man gives Nana her poison and her phone back. And
Yep.
at the end of the episode, Michiru, there's something going on with Michiru that we said last episode. We still haven't gotten to it, but now there's actually something really wrong, because she's in the bathtub and she's maybe dying.
Yes.
But much of this episode is following Nana and Kiryu trying to figure out who killed the person. Who killed this one popular dude who really gives a shit. We didn't know his face until now. Or his
Yeah,
name.
seriously.
I don't even remember his name. Just
I don't remember
chubby
his
guy.
name either.
They call him Chubby
Yeah,
Guy.
chubby guy who could become small.
Yeah, he could small himself.
He could small himself.
And his girlfriend, green-haired girl, who I said did it last episode. I don't know this episode, but I still think she probably did it.
Right. So the key point of the murder investigation currently is whether or not the murder happened after the funeral at night or sometime in the morning.
Yes.
Or possibly sometime in the middle of the night and somehow nobody woke up. And also there's some weird logic there about moths and turning on the light. But basically Nana's tentative argument is that it must have happened in the morning because there were people next door like all of the hours before this guy would have gone to bed that didn't hear anything. So it must have happened in the morning, because if there was a murder, they would have heard it. And Kiryu's argument is, no, you're dumb, and they're dumb, so they just didn't hear it. And it definitely happened at night because moths are in the room and the lights on. Reasons why, that wasn't just staged at night in the middle of the night, Kiryu never really explains, but there's lots of his reasoning that I have issues with.
I think what he says about it. I forget his points. I think that he was like the chubby guy, like got cold very easily, so he would have closed his window, so there wouldn't be
Yeah,
moths inside.
and they got lured in because it was dark outside, presumably, and his light was on, so they got lured in from the outside darkness into the inside brightness because that's what moths want to go towards, and they were still inside during the day
Yeah.
because I guess they were asleep under his bed.
Possibly.
Um,
Do moth? I guess everything goes to sleep some way.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't understand by his argument then, like of being attracted to the light, why they wouldn't have just left when the sun came up.
Um.
But they didn't. Also, the fact that he apparently woke up at like 5 a.m. to go for a jog, and he died like 5 a.m. is definitely before the sun comes up most of the time, almost all of the time. So if he was awake at 5 a.m., he could have gotten murdered at 5 a.m. and it would still be dark outside and the moths would have still been attracted to the light of the inside. So like there's some logic there that, is faulty and bad, but whatever. I don't know where they
So
are, and
the
maybe
problem
5 a.m. is
here,
right
Nick,
there.
is that in the show itself at 5 a.m. They show that it's very sunny.
They do, but I don't
Yeah.
believe that. Like, it's just not that bright at 5
I
a.m.
know it's not that bright, but that's like we just have to take that value as a fact that at 5 a.m.
Okay.
it's light outside in the
Um,
context of the show.
the other point, which is, so the primary suspect in Kyoya's theory is the girlfriend
Yeah.
of the guy who was murdered, who we find out has like super wind cutter blade as her power because she can condense the atmosphere and use it as a weapon.
But she needs
Um,
she needs actual wind around her or stuff
yeah,
moving
she
around
needs to
her.
like pull it in from the outside because she's condensing a lot of wind and the atmosphere into this blade that she produces. And we see Kyoya take a hit from it, and he says that it's like industrial water jet power blade. It's like it cuts deep and cuts, you know, it cuts well and cuts very deep. It would be a very serious wound. Um,
It could also
he
be
also
very loud.
immediately puts his. It was also very loud. Yes, that's part of what I'm going to complain about here in a second. But he also puts his clothes on right after taking a cut, like a hit from the
Yeah.
wind blade, which is a horrible fucking decision because he's literally drenched in blood.
It's also a white shirt.
It is also a white shirt. So everything about that was a bad decision by him. Um, but yeah, so this is the fact that she is condensing all of this wind, and we see her when we see her use her power. It's not a subtle power in any way, shape, or form.
Just like
Like,
do a fucking Kamen Rider move.
yeah, and like it's summoning in air and like wind from all around her. Like everything's getting like moved around. Like it's not like she's condensing the wind like right into her hands and just her hands are being affected. Like just her hands are windy. Like the whole field that they were standing in was like gusting. So part of Kyoya's theory that I draw issue with is he says that the girl must have done it because she had issues with him and the window was open and she doesn't have an alibi and maybe there was some other piece of his like argument of why it had to be her.
So she know he says she has he believes Kyo believes that she has a motive, which is
Hmm.
bad blood between them. The opportunity is the fact that the window was open, and she could use her power, which we don't know if that's true or not.
Right.
But even though he says there's no alibi, uh, um, she mentions that she was with a friend for a period of time.
She says from
think-
midnight till the
Okay.
morning.
Oh, right. And in his theory, the kill happened before midnight. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why. Okay.
But that's like part of his theory is that the kill happened before midnight while those group of four guys were in that room right beside him. Because the other group of four guys are literally like one of them is his neighbor, the neighbor of the dead guy,
Other chubby
and
dude.
they were all in the other chubby dude, the fire using chubby dude, and they were all in the fire using chubby dude's room as he was like lecturing them about like being a man or something.
The way I could see
And
this work. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I think you had an extra point.
yeah, one more point is that like part of Q's theory is the killer was just stealthy about it. That's why they didn't hear anything, because he just snuck in there and stabbed in the back like some sort of backstabbing wuss. But we saw that girl's power. That's not a subtle power. Like it's not like she would casually stab him in the back with the wind blade. That was like hurricane force winds that would be like whipping around like books and shit at the wall. Like they would have heard that.
So what could have happened is, since oftentimes the villains in this show can be at least somewhat smart,
Mhm.
that could have been a ploy. Is that she shows off how like big it can be, but really it can also be like smaller and a bit more stealthy. Sure, it could like ruffle up the room, but she could have
Uh-huh.
made an even smaller one. So that could be still the reason why she did it. Is that she doesn't need to do this huge fucking move for the
Okay.
power. Um,
If we see that,
yeah,
I will accept it. As it stands right now, I think there's a clear contradiction in his theory of it has to be this girl, but it was also a stealthy kill that no one heard.
yeah.
Right now, those two things are not compatible from what we've seen.
I th- if that was the way they were going, his reasoning should have been, she's probably lying to us about how she can use the power. That's my point. Like that's what I'm thinking. The way this works, if she is the killer, is that
Mhm.
she was lying about how she can use the power, and that's also why the guy was opening up the window was because she probably walks in and says, "Hey, can you open the window up?" And he says, "Okay, sure." He opens up the window. That gives her the chance to use her power. And now that the window's open, she has air,
Right.
and why he's like draped over the windowsill.
Uh-huh.
I still don't know the motive. He says the motive is bad blood. I don't know what the bad blood is.
Right.
Just that they weren't really close that much anymore. We might find out
Yeah,
more
their
next
like
episode.
relationship was failing.
Yeah, something like that. So that
Mystique guy implied last episode that it may just be because she's a psychopath because
yeah,
he
she
basically
might
says
just be
like,
crazy.
yeah, because murders are happening on this island now, all the psychopaths are going to come out and play,
Yeah,
basically.
she feels galvanized.
So
If it is her.
maybe she's just a psychopath who was just like, I'm just going to kill somebody. You're close to me. Fuck
Oh
you.
boy, here I go killing again.
Right. Um. But yeah, so we've got that little murder investigation where Nana's actually on the side of like, let's hunt down a killer.
Yep.
Which I really feel like if anything, Kyo should be like, this is weird. Why are you suddenly so gung ho about finding this killer?
Well, she was always kind of interested in finding the killers or quote unquote finding the killers last time too. And
Right.
she's also
Oh yeah, I
the
guess yeah.
leader.
Before she was always like, I was here and I heard them. It was an enemy of humanity,
Right,
and
her
I've been like
escape route
out
always been
hunting
an
them.
enemy of humanity. At this
Right.
point, if I was here, I'd be like, interesting that she's not blaming an enemy of humanity, and
Well,
trying to
other
find.
times she was close to the dead body was her argument.
Yeah,
Was she was like, I heard the enemy of humanity, so like I came looking for it, and that's why you guys found me standing over this dead person. This is the first time where like she's not an immediate suspect because Michiru was with her all night, so it couldn't have been her.
right, couldn't have been her. But if you're Kyo, you kind of start, you kind of start thinking like, why isn't she immediately blaming that dude or the one scapegoat
Right.
for this?
I mean, he definitely should be. You're right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. He definitely should be suspect of Nana for being on board with the one of our classmates killed another classmate theory.
But the B plot, I think you were gonna get to was that something's going on with Michiru. She's acting all weird, trying to talk to Nana, but then wusses out. And the entire time Nana's trying to figure out like what Michiru's angle is. And I think the penultimate point of their little story is that Michiru just really likes her.
Yeah. So
Which I kind of like that.
we get to Nana breaks into Michiru's room, I think.
No, because
I forget.
so Kira comes up and says, "Yo, Michiru want to talk to you," but Michiru was talking to me about how she wanted to talk to you, and then she just left. So I guess it's good. And that's when Nana's like, "All right, I'll go talk to her." So she goes over to her
Okay,
room.
yeah.
It's open, I think, but she's taking a shower.
Yeah,
Bath
something
shower.
like that.
Wait, shower. Here's the shower.
Yeah, she was in the shower. This is why I think like I don't know if I want to classify what Nana did as breaking in or not, because like Michiru was in the shower. Like it's not like she opened the door and was like, "Come in," like you're invited in.
But
Nana
then
just
again,
sort of casually opens the door and walks
the
in.
door's also open, which is a little weird. If you're taking a shower,
Right.
like, close the door or lock the door. I guess she kind of breaks in, and she also kind of goes through her stuff, or goes through Michiru's
Yes,
stuff.
she definitely invades Michiru's privacy as she reads her diary.
Yeah. Reads some things about how Michiru like legitimately actually really likes Nana and how she like looks up to her. Up comes Mystique guy, and like I said before, gives Nana the poison that was in her pocket and her phone back.
Yes.
Now
because
that
Mystique Guy wants to know who's been training her to be a serial killer,
yeah.
and then he just sort of bails out because he's like, "Do whatever you want to do.
Also,
I'll
your
be
friend is probably
waiting."
dying in the bathroom.
Yeah. By the way, your friend's fucked. Um, because as we were reading through Michiru's diary, part of kind of what we suspected was she makes a note of like after trying to heal douchebag kid, she was feeling like really tired and like really like run down, and then Nana got burned, and so she spent all night healing Nana. So like this is two really intensive healings that she's attempted in like pretty much consecutive days. So like we kind of suspected that Michiru was riding the struggle bus last episode. I think this episode pretty much confirmed it. This girl is close to death.
Quite possibly. Quite probably.
Yeah, it is very possible that she has given up a majority of her life essence to heal people now. So we very possibly in the next episode or two might be looking to find out how the make Michiru not die part of her power works,
If there is any.
if there is any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michiru might just die, and we're still trying to figure out who is the Chubby Boy killer,
Mhm.
and what's gonna go on with the backup.
Yes. And if Nana will decide that maybe, quite possibly, the talented actually are like real people with souls.
Never.
Because never. I mean, she had a moment with the green-haired girl who might possibly be the killer, as Kyoya had interrogated her, and then Bale like leaves because he's gotten all the information. So he's like, "Fuck being a normal human. I'm outie." Nana stays behind for a moment to be like, "Oh, it's okay. He's just an asshole to everybody. It's not you personally." Um, and she notices the girl starts crying, and she's like, "Please help me avenge my dead boyfriend." And Nana has this look on her face of like, "Oh my god, it's crying. What do I do?" So like this might be like she's understanding with this girl crying, and now Michiru's diary talking about like how much she just really loves Nana and like wants to be her friend and respects her so much. Like she might be coming to grasp like maybe they're not all assholes.
Are we the
Maybe just
baddies?
some of them are, right? Am I just am I just murdering people? I'm not saving the world. I'm just killing kids.
There's skulls on our caps. It's for bravery.
I don't think any of the good guys have ever worn skulls on their hats before.
Predictions, Nick. Any predictions that you have?
Those uniforms. Hugo Boss. Um, any predictions?
I still think Green Haired Girl did it.
I think whatever is coming in terms of the backup or the security person being sent by HQ, it's not going to be like what we think. I think there's a chance that it will be Mystique Guy in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how or why he would do it, but have a feeling like he's going to like attach himself to the school in some sort of official capacity that he can get like up close and personal and watch Nana work.
Hmm.
So I think quite possibly he might embed himself into whatever's coming, or like take it out and become,
Oh, so
like if there's one person, he might kill them and become that person.
he'll become like a fake teacher type person.
Right.
That's possible. I was maybe thinking that there'd be like another psycho killer, but they're actually super psycho, and they just go off, just killing willy nilly.
Like another high school psycho killer or an adult psycho killer.
High school psycho killer possibly, but that wouldn't be really fun. Like them just
Yeah, that would be less
going off
interesting.
and murdering people.
Random senseless murder. It's less interesting because it's harder to, pinpoint from like an anime perspective of just like, yeah, this person's just crazy, so they just killed a bunch of people. It's like not really a compelling reason, and like hunting them down just, I mean,
Well,
you
no,
get like the
it's like
psycho babble of like the blood looks so good and I'm so happy when
Cutthroat
I'm
again.
killing people. It's basically, yeah, Cutthroat again.
But
But
another
like
reason.
that's why Cutthroat didn't really take over any of the scenes. Like Cutthroat's mentality was not interesting up until the end, and at that point he'd gone so crazy that like even then I just didn't really enjoy his whole like red halo thing. It just kind of sucked.
It's not worse for what it was, which is just a crazy person and like an antagonist for an episode.
Right.
But another reason why like that type of killer wouldn't even wouldn't work even more in this show is because this show is very much about like being methodical, and then
Yeah, that's a
someone
good
just
point.
coming in and just like waving a knife all around like that's just not fun.
Yeah. I mean, it would be maybe not like the psycho killer in terms of like the just random murders, but more in like the Joker style of like less predictable. Like there's not a methodical and like a cold calculating way, but it's more of like a crazy person logic. Because like I wouldn't say anything that the Joker did was like randomly decided. Like there was a sick logic to it. I'm thinking of the Nolan Batman trilogy specifically.
Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah, like everything that he did in the movie, like there was a logic to it. It wasn't like a one to two to three to four, like easy to follow for a normal person type of logic, but like in the Joker's weird, sick, twisted mind, like there was a logic to what he was doing. So I think a killer like that would be interesting, where like the logic that Kyoya and Nana are operating on suddenly is like it just doesn't work for that type of killer. Although I don't know if they want to dilute the whole Nana is the killer message that much.
Right. At some point, I feel like just like in this, just like what's happening now. At some point, they're gonna reverse it and have Nana be like the detective with Kyoya.
Right.
But yeah.
But I think like the next I don't know how many times they could get away with having like Kyoya be detective with, or I'm sorry, Nana be detective with Kyoya before like they just have to reverse the message of the story as a whole, or not the message of the story, but the plot of the story. Because like the main plot is Nana is the killer, and like it's a detective versus killer show. So like if they want Kyoya and Nana to work together, like they just have to full reverse and have Nana decide like I'm the bad person here and become on the side of Kyoya, like working to stop the government.
I think what would happen there is that she'd have to find a way to. The only way, the way they would, the reason they would pair up is to take down Crazy Mystique guy.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Because he'd probably like try to start a civil war. Nana knows this and doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
I guess that would have to be her only like at this point right now. Her only reasoning would be, I don't want to die. That's
Uh-huh.
not gonna help you. Because I don't think she's at the point where she still wants them to live because they're just they're regular people-ish.
Right. I
But
think at some point we will get there. The like she wants them to live because they're regular people.
yeah,
I think you're right that like I could see them teaming up, not a begrudgingly teaming up with Kyoya to stop Mystique Guy.
but I don't know if that'll happen at all this season because we've got 3 episodes left.
I don't think it'll happen this
Yeah,
season.
I think the ending arc will have something to do with the administrator that's coming up. Maybe I'm not sure.
Probably.
Yeah, but
They didn't really give us like a firm time frame of when they would be showing up too.
that's true.
So like I don't know if this is like a they're sending somebody tomorrow or they're sending somebody by boat. They'll be here in a month. Because they are on an island by themselves, and I don't know if they ever really explained like how far away from mainland Japan this island is.
Yeah, but that's Nana. That's Mona
Yeah,
Nana.
we got a girl pass out in the bath, and a dead dude, and quite possibly a
We have
murderous ex
one
girlfriend.
suspect. That's about it.
That's about it.
What if Kyoya did
What if it was all four of those guys from next door?
it? It's all of
They
you.
worked.
You're working together. You're lying for each other. It's all of you.
It's all of you.
That'd be too stupid. Let's be real here.
I mean, like it makes way more sense that it's going to be this girl with her condense the atmosphere into a blade power.
It could not be her. It could also be like just a guy who becomes silent and shanked him and left.
I mean, but it's just from like the perspective of the show as a show. Like
It's the girl.
if
Yeah.
they haven't introduced the character, they're not suddenly gonna be like, it's that guy in the corner that we've never said his name or talked about in any way, shape, or form. Like it's gonna be a character that we've seen, and the characters we're seeing are those four dudes from next door and that one girl. So it's definitely one of them, and it's probably the girl.
All right, so let's move on to Moriarty.
All right. We got the tale of two detectives,
Yep. We find out
which
why it's a tale of two detectives at the end of the episode.
right.
At
I
first,
thought in the middle it was going to be the tale of two detectives because it was going to be
Watson and
uh
Sherlock.
I thought it was going to
Oh,
be Sherlock and Lestrade.
oh,
I thought it was going to be the tale of Lestrade being a blind dumb idiot as Sherlock's like, I'm the better detective, clearly superior to you in every way.
oh! I thought it was gonna be like Sherlock, and the second detective was gonna be Sherlock's partner, Watson, and what's going
Okay.
on with their relationship. Because right now they're kind of at each other's throats,
Yeah.
towards the middle of it.
This begins with Sherlock receiving a lot of notoriety because he solved an almost impossible case that even Scotland Yard wasn't able to solve.
Yep.
So people start showing up for his 221B detective consulting agency,
And
and they
it's
ask him to solve all his problems, and he solves them in the course of an afternoon. Because that's Sherlock Holmes for you.
yeah, they're all dumb and stupid and dumb mysteries. He doesn't like them.
Yeah,
He's upset.
because
Bored.
he's got the taste of the grand conspiracy, so he wants more. And he plays the violin, and he has hallucinations of Hope coming to him and taunting him about like, oh, you could have killed me. I would have told you everything about my benefactor, how smart he was, all the grand design. I would have told you everything. You just had to kill me. And Holmes starts to think to himself like, maybe I should have.
Oh,
And he has a
actually,
fantasy of shooting the guy.
yeah. Well, something that we forgot to talk about is the very first scene, which is a kind of a redux of the confrontation from last episode, wherein Sherlock does shoot him in a scene where you don't see Watson with him.
Yeah,
They talk about this later on, but he does mention that had Watson not been there, he actually would have shot Hope,
yeah,
which kind of teases up to a more darker Sherlock.
yes. Because now that Sherlock is thoroughly upset that there's no more hint of the grand design, he starts to sort of connect the two pieces that he's got and trying to draw any conclusion that he can. And the conclusion that he comes up with is
They were
they're
both
both nobles.
nobles. Yep, both nobles, both killed by, well, yeah, both nobles. Sorry.
It just all he's got is two nobles. He doesn't really know anything else. He's just got they both were cases involving nobles, and presumably there aren't so many nobles in England that's a common occurrence that two cases involving nobles would happen back to back like that.
Hmm. So he shoots his wall a couple times, and then has Lestrade just run in, half shaven, and says, "Hey, tell me all the cases about that involve the nobles."
Yeah. So Lestrade tells them about one, and they take a train off to York to go see what's up, and they find out that dude just died because he's old.
Yeah, he's just keeled over.
Yeah,
Sucks
he was an
suck.
old dude who was sick, and he died. And that was yep. And so Sherlock gets back on the train and is pissy, and so as they're getting on the train, he has a fight with John
Yeah,
about, like
kind
you
of
said,
takes it on him.
if you hadn't been here, I would have shot that dude, and I would be able to know what was going on with this grand conspiracy. How dare you stop me from being a murderer? And John is a very morally upstanding person, and it basically says like, I can't believe you're such a fucking asshole that you would just be willing to kill a man just so you could learn something about this mystery.
Yeah, in this show, it seems that, well, even like the other shows, it seems that it's that Watson was very much Sherlock's like moral compass.
Yeah, that is very much a good way of thinking about Watson and like the role that he plays. But he throws Sherlock's ticket in his face and storms off,
In a very
goes
good
off
throw,
into
by the
there.
way. That like
He does, yeah.
Vapor doesn't throw that well. He like a card fucking shuriken that shit.
Yeah, like right into Sherlock's face. Like it wasn't even like into his chest. Like it was the smaller target of like square in between the eyes.
Yeah,
Um,
good on Watson.
yeah, I mean, he was a soldier. Granted, they don't teach card throwing in the army, but
It's kind of boring in
still,
the army. They probably learn how to do it there.
it's true. A lot of downtime. Um, but yeah, Watson storms off into their carriage and locks the door. So Sherlock has to find somewhere else to spend some time. So he goes off to the dining car because he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna eat some food."
Yep.
And he
And
gets
lo
there and
and
he sees
behold,
across the thing old Moriarty and his brother sitting there.
yeah, Lewis and James. There you go.
William James Moriarty.
Yep.
So he skips on over there and tells them all about, oh, Moriarty, listen to this other grand conspiracy that I just saw, and oh, this person told me all about it, and wouldn't it be so interesting if these two things are connected and there was some grand design? And oh well, I'll have you know that I went back afterwards and talked to that guy who's arrested. And he told me who did it. He told me it was you,
You.
William James Moriarty.
God, that was a fun scene.
It was a good scene. And Louis does a good job of like breaking it down for us why it was almost a catch-22 of an accusation, because it's indefensible, because if you try and say
If you provide actual proof why it's wrong, then like you,
you're confirming that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So there's no way of
Complete,
refuting it
yeah.
without pointing out that he's lying, and by pointing out that he's lying, you're proving that it's true.
But our Moriarty takes the other route and says it's impossible to prove someone's not innocence.
Right. And you're the detective, so
So
you have
you,
to prove that I'm guilty.
yep. And in this scene, like it makes it come off that like at this point, like as soon as Moriarty says "Catch me if you can," that like Sherlock, like at this point, Sherlock knows it's him. Now you just have to
Oh
prove
yeah.
it. Like they just have to, he just has to prove it now.
At this point, they are almost openly taunting each other, or Moriarty is openly taunting Sherlock.
This is L and Light, where like Light knows who L is, she just needs the
Mhm.
name.
Yeah, and the "Catch Me If You Can, Mr. Holmes" in English was perfect as a scene.
I like
As
the
Moriarty like leans back, his everything about his facial demeanor changes into the more like
yeah, his fucking
cat-like,
sinister eyes.
Oh, it was perfectly directed.
Perfect.
I mean, it was. There was definitely a purr to that "Catch Me If You Can, Mr. Holmes."
Yeah, and they
I mean,
just
it was
both light
positively
up.
sinful.
The way that Moriarty's eyes light up when Sherlock says it's you, well, it was fucking cool. This scene was just so much fucking fun.
Oh, it was great. I'm so glad that it's the two detectives we're getting, because finishing up the recap,
Yeah,
they hear a scream, I think, from one of the other passenger cars, and they run back
yeah,
and they
lady.
find a dead body
Yep.
inside of a locked carriage.
And our two detectives are Moriarty and Sherlock. Sherlock says, "Hey, Moriarty, here's a fun game. Let's find out who can solve the murder first."
Hmm. And Moriarty says, "Well, that'll be interesting, but I see that you're going to have some extra trouble than I am." And they turn around and they find that John Watson is standing there, presumably injured.
Well, there's blood somewhere, and
There's
he looks
blood on his
shocked.
chest, and he looks shocked, and he doesn't have it on his hands.
Yeah,
So, like, I'm assuming he didn't kill the guy and instead just got stabbed or shot.
yeah.
Um, but yes, so presumably post-fight now, post their argument with Watson, Sherlock is going to have to like deal with his emotions of like, my friend has been stabbed and or shot, and also have to solve the case before Moriarty, because it's a game. Sherlock can't lose when the game is afoot.
And my question would be, or I'm wondering, like, why was Moriarty there? Like, is Moriarty like part of the murder, or is he just there because the murder act? Well, not just there, or did that murder happen like outside of his control? Like, it just is a murder that happened on a train.
Right. I don't know. I mean, presumably the train was coming from somewhere further out in like the English countryside,
Yeah,
so maybe that's whatever college that Moriarty teaches at. Maybe it's like further out there past York.
right.
I don't know where York is in relation to London.
It's also a surprise that Sherlock is here, because the two
Yes.
Moriartys don't know didn't think he would be here.
Hmm.
Which makes
So
me think.
presumably they weren't out doing a crime.
Well, that makes me think they were doing a crime, and
Okay.
that Sherlock was supposed to find this later.
Okay, yeah, that's more. I would suspect them setting up a crime, not
Yeah,
doing the crime. If they did the crime, I would expect Sherlock to have heard about it. But I
right.
think, yeah, they were setting up a crime for later.
But now there is a dead man, and now we need to figure out who killed him. And
Yeah.
my guess was Fred. Fred
I
did
don't
it.
think so. I actually don't know.
You just
I
think
don't think this is a Sherlock murder or a Moriarty murder.
yeah, it could just be a guy died. We don't know
I think
anything about the guy who died. Like, we don't know if he's a noble. Like, if he's not a noble, then chances are Moriarty's not part of this, and it's just a guy who,
right.
got in a spat with someone and shanked or shot. Most likely
Yeah,
shot because we didn't hear. It was like shanked because we didn't hear a gun.
exactly. Because I think it's more going to be an investigation of the locked room mystery.
Oh, is that an
Because they
actual?
try the handle and they can't open the.
Oh,
Because they made a point of that earlier when Sherlock tries to get into the carriage, and sees like the door is locked and can't get in, and like he can't unlock it because it only locks from the inside.
Hmm.
So like
So
they made a point of that is a thing earlier, and then they try the door on this carriage and they see that it is also locked. So they've established now that this is a locked room.
oh, I think I know what happened. I think someone went out the window.
Okay. I think this is going to be a the person is hiding somehow. They're either going to
Oh, like
be
under
in
the
like under
in
the
the room.
seats,
Yeah.
yeah, in the room under the seats or in a bag up on top
Okay.
in the luggage rack.
That could also happen. Yeah. But I guess we both are on the same page. He didn't live. They didn't leave the room, and that's going to be the first
Yes.
step. Is that they ask, okay, who left the room, and no one's going to know because they're either still in the room or they went out the window.
Yeah. I don't think they went out the door.
Definitely
It's
did not go out the door.
fuck, what was that manga that we were reading that ended about the mystery club? Because that manga was preparing us for this. Because that girl loved to set up locker room
Oh
mysteries
my
for that
god.
kid to solve.
Oh god. What was it? What was it? Chicken Jacken.
Jigen. There was like it was like 6 or 7 different locker room mysteries that girl set up for him.
Yeah.
One of them was like the guy was still hiding in the room. One of them was the body wasn't dead yet.
I think one of them was the skeleton was just the person in a costume.
Yeah, I think that was one. He gets offended because it's just a skeleton. It was such a weird fucking manga. But yeah, that manga was preparing us for this to know how to solve a locked room mystery
Yeah, they're either hiding or they found another way to get out to the
out of the car to
yeah.
the compartment.
And okay, Nick, if they find out that it was someone who went out the door or out the window, it's gonna be Fred.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be
okay.
if they went out the window, it's Fred.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Because we've seen
I mean,
Fred do like crazy fucking shit. And
right?
going out the window on a moving train is like some Fred shit.
That is some Fred shit right there.
Yeah. Although I don't know why it would be Fred, aside from the fact that, you know, if you just need to kill someone, just have Fred do it.
Right. Why are we standing on top of the train? We're still just on the train.
So I guess that's our only predictions, like how do they leave or how do they get out of the how do they
The compartment, yeah.
yeah. I'm not sure.
Because until we find out if this person is a noble or not, we don't even know if Moriarty is necessarily connected to it.
Right.
So this could genuinely just be a game between two smart people to try and solve this thing, or it could be Moriarty trying to lead Sherlock into not finding out that it was Fred.
Yeah. And both of them could be interesting in their own right. Like if it
Right.
is their you know gentlemanly game of who find out the killer first, I wonder who would win.
Mm-hmm.
My
Because
guess.
part of all of Moriarty's, like, grand conspiracy designs, his murders, is that the deaths have to, like, paint a picture where,
Yes.
like, the person who dies and the person who commits the murder, like, the being the noble and the being and the dying, and, like, he always wants there to be a message for people to take away.
There has to be some theatrics around it.
Yeah. Some, like, yeah, headline grabbing theatrics so that whatever evil thing that the nobles have done comes to light and
Right.
like is also headline news therefore.
It can't just be a noble just dies on a train.
Right.
Although that's pretty headlining. Noble shanked in train. The
Shanked
end.
in train. The end. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be like more like page 3.
Yeah. It's not like nobleman or suspected manhunter manhunts in theater.
In theater, on boat. Yeah. I mean, that's headline news right there.
Serial molester shot the shit. Read it now.
Writes name of detective in blood. Yeah, those are like headline news. This is just noble stabbed, door locked. That's all they got right
Was
now.
it Bigfoot or aliens? You know that's a fucking headline of the Sun.
Probably. I don't know if the sun exists back then though. I think this is pre-sun.
Such wonderful times.
Yeah,
Um,
back in the good times.
yeah. So like we don't really know anything with mystery or the murder. So I guess
Mhm.
we don't have predictions for that. Will it be
Right.
solved by next episode? Is this a
I think
three
so.
episode arc or a 2 episode arc?
I
Do
think
you-
it's two.
Okay, and we'll
They're
have
usually pretty good about having an episode or having uh investigations be this is establishing the mystery and then solving the mystery as those are the two episodes.
okay. So then we would have one episode as like the final one. I wonder what they would
Yeah,
do for that. Maybe set something up. They would have to set something up. Or
I
no,
think
they don't
so.
have to set something up. They could have a one episode mystery as well.
They could. I think it'll be I hope it will be like Moriarty setting in motion the the main plot of his grand conspiracy and like dispatching Morin and Fred and his brother, his older brother, off to do like whatever it is that they're going to do to like set the grand conspiracy in motion.
Okay, so not like these mini arcs, but like a bigger arc involving multiple players.
Yeah, because we've established with the boat this is the grand conspiracy of what we're doing, and we established with the Study in Scarlet that
Sherlock is
Sherlock is
the
going
main
to be the one
character.
solving it.
Hmm. And now with this, we established. Well, we've already established the rivalry, but this is more of, I guess, a little cherry on top for the rivalry.
Yeah, this is them being able to interact now that they both know each other as like
Yeah.
players in this game. And so I think the final episode will be now that all of the roles have been cast, Moriarty saying like, "This is the full plan. I
Mhm.
now can see it all. This is what we're going to do," and like lays it out in terms of like the next steps.
And has to carefully make sure that Moriarty doesn't find out enough about him being involved in the crimes.
Yeah, but it should be. I think it'll be fun. Whatever happens in the next episode. When we got started with this episode, the fact that it was just another Sherlock episode, I was kind of upset. Of like, I just want this. Like, I don't want this to be Sherlock is detective and solves the crimes. I want this to be like the early episodes of Moriarty
Yeah.
like creates the crimes. But I liked how this one turned out with Moriarty and Sherlock getting to play like dueling detectives.
Hmm.
Kind of like it. It'll be fun because their dynamic of fun, joking rivalry, want to stab each other in the backness is very compelling.
I don't know if like Moriarty wants to stab him in the back. Just keep him in line just a little bit. Make sure he's playing his role and doesn't like, stray too far.
Right. I mean, they're definitely not like friendly though.
Yeah.
Like there is more. Their relationship is more antagonistic than friendly. I couldn't think of a better word.
Uh, um, what's the opposite of antagonistic? Protagonistic?
I was gonna say protagonistic, but I was like, that doesn't sound right.
I mean, why wouldn't it?
I don't know. It just doesn't sound right.
Amicable? How about that?
Amicable is a better word. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, amicable just means friendly, but
I mean, but it sounds better.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Moriarty.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to our two detectives
Yeah.
going head to head, solving a case.
Sure, it's fucking awesome.
John
I
Watson
fucking love
trying
it.
not to die from gut shot.
Or gut shank, or if
Or
it
gut
even
shank.
is a gut shank.
Mm.
It could be that like he was. Yeah, if he didn't have. Okay, I'm not sure.
Door's still locked.
Joe
He couldn't
still
have
locked, he
gotten
couldn't
in.
have gotten in. Yeah. So how did he
So-
get that shank?
Yeah,
And would he know who shanked him? Maybe he got shanked from the back, so he doesn't know.
right. I don't know.
No,
That would be a long sword to go all the way
it's
through, though.
hard.
It must have got shocked in the front, so you'd know what the murderer looked like.
Yeah,
He's probably about to pass out from blood loss.
that's true. Who killed you? Tell me, tell me. He had spiky black hair and was kind of brown. I think his name's Fred.
It was kind of brown.
Fred's kind of brown. He's tanned.
Is he tan? Okay.
A little bit, I would say so.
He's got a very the thing that strikes me about Fred is that he's got a very androgynous face. So like I guess that's why. Although we saw that he doesn't really wear like makeup as disguises, he wears like porcelain masks. But he's got
Well-
a good face for disguises because it's very like
Yeah.
you can kind of make
Neutral.
it look however you want. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our last show, which is
Aqueduct Drive,
Aquadam Drive. Yep.
where we got basically the chase of I think it's literally just called the Bat, which is sort of annoying, or the Bat plane. Because that's definitely what they are flying in. The Executioners and Brother are
Oh,
flying in the Bat plane going to
that
the train
helicopter.
station. Yeah, the Batcopter. They're going to the train station. Courier showed up on the roof last time, so this episode they jump off the roof on their motorcycle and then just drive along the streets because the motorcycle can't fly. But the majority of this episode is focused on the riots that are ongoing now. Because, as we saw, Swindler has incited people into riots by basically declaring war on regular
Something,
people.
I guess.
She's like, I'm going to show up with Akudama and take over everything. I don't really know why she did it, but
Yeah.
she did.
And now, like,
Um,
everything just went to shit immediately.
right.
Crazy
And it worked
how
out for them.
far, yeah. So now any rider is in Akudama.
Yep.
So the little robots that they had tied up on the barricade. What a smart way to like have to like figure out who Akudama is. Just have the
Yeah,
robots
the
do it
police
for you.
bot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then they just easily ripped off their chains. Like
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why they didn't do it to begin with.
I don't know.
Right? But then yeah, the police robots just take off their stuff and then basically just start lasering everybody.
Yeah.
A bunch of people die. Bunch of people die.
Yep. We also find out that the system involving the Akudama has a clear flaw in it, in that our KGB-esque secret police are not actually allowed to declare people Akudama. Only the regular cops can do that.
I don't know if that's an issue, if that's a bug. I feel that's a good separation of power.
I mean,
Like, yeah, I can't decide
yes,
who to
but
kill
at the
and then kill
same
them.
time, we end up with the situations like we had at the end of this, in which that girl was very clearly about to kill that dude, but the executioner was not allowed to do anything because if she killed her, she would be killing a regular person. Like, it feels sort of flawed that Doctor could literally have just murdered that kid right there, and the other executioner would not be able to do anything about it.
Right, but by that logic, she could have just murdered him too, her too. She'd have to be declared Nakudama, but like
Yeah,
just because she just shanks the fucking lady doesn't mean she's an automatic Nakudama.
it's true.
That's where I thought it was like, but like, that's where I thought it was a little raw or a little weird. I could understand like what they were trying to go with, but it didn't like work exactly for me.
Yeah, it
But
was a
anyways,
weird system altogether.
yeah. But anyways, yeah. Speaking of that scene, Doctor like puts a little needle through that guy's heart, and everyone's like everyone's like in a showdown. Showdown?
Yeah, it's a Mexican standoff.
Standoff. Standoff. That's the word.
Not to be insulting to Mexicans. I actually don't know where that phrase came from. I think it was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I don't think it is. I think that one borrowed it from something else, but
Did
it
it? Okay.
could be because I think they are in Mexico at the end of that movie.
I think so.
Um, and a lot of like shows do or movies do borrow from that scene. You know,
Yeah.
the cut to the eyes,
The cut to
kind
the
of
eyes of
shifting.
the three people or four
Yeah.
people in a row as they stand equidistant from each other.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that could have been where it came from. I'm not entirely sure. Also, that movie was filmed almost entirely in Spain by Italians. Um,
Spaghetti westerns.
spaghetti westerns. But they're in a standoff. Um, okay, what happens? This one, Doctor has the pin in.
Doctor has
the pin in the Kohai's
needle
heart.
inside the red shirt's heart.
Um,
Because let's be honest,
Hoodlum.
that kid is a red shirt from Star Trek.
Yes.
That kid is going to die.
Hoodlum has a scalpel to
The neck
Swindler's neck.
of Swindler's neck. Also, okay, this is another thing. I'm just gonna complain about this right off the bat. So, Hoodlum is holding Swindler hostage, and Courier turns around with his fucking Uber Magnum and points it at Hoodlum. And Doctor makes the comment of "Oh, I taught him how to cut the carotid artery, so he'll slice her throat before your bullet hits him." The fuck it will. Bullets travel at supersonic speeds. He would get hit with the bullet before he knew the gun was fired. That is so fucking garbage that in the show they said he would cut her neck before he could get shot. Absolutely, that is untrue. He would be dead before he even knew the gun was fired.
Please, Nick. Hoodlum's in Akudama with 500 million years, Nick. You don't think he'd be able to fucking do it?
I mean, I don't think a human being alive has the reaction speed to do that.
I mean, okay, hold on, Nick. Fucking one of the ladies is tries to sew her head back together. I don't want to hear it.
Not her head, just her throat.
Just the throat, just the throat. She does his head earlier in the show.
Does she?
Because Cutthroat fucking slices it
Oh,
off.
right. She gets her head cut off and sews it back on. I forgot about that.
So things are
Right.
a little wonky. Well, she could have like some weird like nanobot shit or like extra stuff going on.
Yeah, but I mean, then is able to control her arms from her head, which they're very clearly separated, and there's like a fault in logic there.
Yeah. Anyways, they're in a standoff. What's her face goes over. Not what's her face, but Senpai.
The executioner, the one-eyed executioner.
Senpai goes over and puts the kid inside.
Oh, right.
No, wait, no, you don't.
What a great fucking scene. So she was loading, One-Eyed Executioner was loading the brother into the train when Doctor shows up, and she says, like, oh yeah, I want that kid, bring him to me. And so Executioner can't, like, get the thing to go backwards, I guess, so she just makes it drop in place. So the metal container that the kid is in drops, like, a solid, like, 15, 20 feet out of the air.
Hopefully there's some nice cushioning in there.
I mean, it's a fucking metal tube that the kid is in. But yeah, so Executioner, One-Eyed Executioner walks over towards the metal container, but is very clearly like not in a hurry about it or anything. So she sort of casually walks near it, but mostly just gives Swindler time to talk to Hoodlum about like, you're being a punk bitch. Like, your best friend was a fucking badass who totally respected you, and now you're acting like a real punk bitch right now. Like, this is such a fucking punk move.
And then little sister also tries to convince
Executioner
Senpai to not do it too.
Yeah. Doctor gets like morally offended that Swindler is saying words. So she turns around and she's like, "Oh, you're such a goody goody two shoes, and everybody loves you. Fucking hate you, you bitch." Swindler hits you like, "You're the bitch, you bitch." I don't really remember like fully what happens here. It was kind of catfighty for a moment. But it ends with Hoodlum getting shot in the hand by Courier.
Yeah, because I think he says not to.
I think he does decide not to shank Swindler, but then he gets shot in the hand for good measure.
Yeah.
It was very much a moment of like, that was a little bit unnecessary. Yeah. I can understand it because you don't know that Hoodlum isn't just going to change his mind again, but it was kind of unnecessary.
And then we get a little call that to Executioner. But it's a little weird because they're not supposed to have radio signals. Mm-hmm. This is mentioned in the show. That a bunch of the peasants, are going up to the maglev train.
Yeah.
The doors open and they just start pouring out. And in the commotion, Hoodlum grabs a scalpel and just shanks Doctor.
Shanks Doctor right in the throat.
Right in the artery.
Yeah. And he starts to like mouth off about like, I hate you.
I learned this from watching you.
Doctor mentions that she caused Brawler to die.
Oh yeah.
Because she intentionally didn't stitch up his chest wound well, so that when he was fighting again, she wanted the stitches to break, so he bled to death.
Yeah.
So basically, we found out that Brawler would have won in the Executioner v Brawler fight.
Yeah.
Had it not been for Doctor being a punk bitch. So Hoodlum gets revenge and stabs Doctor in the throat, goes to mouth off, and then gets his own throat cut open. So he's dead. Doctor begins to sew herself back up when the train decides, like, I'm just going to go ahead and let all these people get on.
Open up now.
So it opens up all of its passenger carriage openings, and all the people, like, flood in, and they just go ahead and trample Doctor to death along the way.
Which kind of makes sense. They're, like, super concentrated on the train, so...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense of why she got trampled.
Yeah, so she's trampled, and the kid is also now in the train as well.
Yes, the brother gets picked back up because when the train turns back on and opens up all of its doors, it also picks up the metal container again and absorbs it into its body. So the brother is on the train. Courier, Swindler, and Sister hop on Courier's bike and get onto the train the last possible second. So they're also on the train now with all of the other randos, the rando citizens who are all labeled Akudama because they all want to go to Kansai together. Or Kanto. I always get that backwards.
So either they're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Or I think they're just normal people. I don't think they're Akudama. Like they're just normal people that like ran to.
They're just regular?
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe it's
There was a
Akudama.
shot of like it showed all the people like standing around outside watching the Shinkansen pull into the station. Like most of the people outside were the people rioting who all got declared Akudama. So
That's true.
I just assumed they were all Akudama now, but I don't know. They could just be regular citizens who decided to show up.
Yeah, at this point, they're gonna go. They're gonna make it, and they're gonna realize everything just kind of sucks in Kanto too. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Um, did you watch the small post credits thing?
No, what happened?
Okay, there was a rabbit shark skit at the
Oh,
in the
okay.
post credits where they talk about the reason why people were supposed to show up because they established before that like the whole elevator thing where like you're not supposed to be able to get into the train station, you're not supposed to be able to like get on the elevator and get up to
Oh, that's
the
what I was thinking.
maglev
Like,
train.
yeah, right. They needed like some special credentials, but they still got up there.
Yeah. So the post credit scene mentions that the people of Kanto wanted everyone to get on the maglev train. So they opened up the doors and let the elevators work for everybody, just they could just use them because and then it cuts off there. And like
Oh.
it does like the effect of like it's being taken over and like prevented from finishing that sentence. So like there is some reason why the people of Kanto are allowing everyone to get on the
It's some
maglev
sort
train
of
to
green
come
shit.
to Kanto.
Get ready for it.
It's what?
Some
Oh,
Soylent
Soylent Green.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be the next episode title. Soylent Green.
Dude,
What
I would be
episode is that
so
from?
down
What
with
show is
that.
that from? Or movie?
What, Soylent Green?
Yeah.
I think it was called Soylent Green.
Oh, yeah, Soylent Green. So like it would make sense with the
Soylent.
style of title.
Mm-hmm. Soylent Green is made of people.
It's people.
But yeah, so we're going to Kanto. We're down to two, maybe three of our OG Akudama cast. Because we have Courier, Swindler, and possibly we will meet up with Hacker again because we're going to Kanto and he's in
Oh
Kanto.
my god. Oh yeah, everyone else is dead.
Everyone else has died. Hoodlum,
Hoodlum's dead.
Doctor,
Doctor's dead.
Cutthroat.
Brawler's dead. Cutthroat's dead. Hackers. Something's going on with Hacker.
Yeah,
Maybe.
MIA,
Swindler, and then we have Courier.
Swindler and Courier.
Ah.
That's all that is left. Swindler and Courier. Maybe Hacker, because we are going to Kanto, so possibly we could logically run into him again, but even then, like, we'd have to find him in Kanto with everything else that's going on, so that's
Yeah.
not even a guarantee that he will show up again. Although maybe he will. Maybe he was the reason why the doors opened and everyone was able to get on the train. Maybe he was hacking to, like, help Courier and Swindler.
It's possible.
Or just to help the people of Kansai.
You remember something that what's her face dropped the drone last episode,
Yes, she did.
and they did show like the drone dropping. So I wonder if that's gonna play into something. Because I thought the drone's gonna help her get away from Cutthroat, but she hasn't used it yet.
Did she go back and pick it up? Like, she just dropped it
Don't think
in
so.
the thing. Okay.
So I'm not sure.
So that means there's just like a drone that's just in Executioner HQ.
Oh,
Oh, they do mention this is another thing. They mentioned this during the whole KGB secret police executioner thing, talking to the cops. That all of the people that Cutthroat killed were not the fighters. They were just like the office staff, essentially. All of the
Okay.
fighters were out being like,
fighting.
you know, working on the riot stuff. So those were just office staff that he killed. So that does sort of go back to one of the complaints I had last time of like, you know, he just casually killed a bunch of people after showing like how difficult it was to kill just the one executioner by himself. Those were not executioners; those were just office workers.
Okay.
That's why it was so easy to kill them all.
It's easy peasy, Nick.
It's easy peasy.
They were all sleeping in their beds that night with their
Just bing bang boom.
with their windows open.
Yep.
So you reminded me of something of why Hacker may have been the one to open the windows. Oh wait, but no, the drone isn't at the station. It's somewhere in the fucking tower.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
executioner's HQ.
Yeah, I've no clue. I guess they just got rid of it.
I don't know. Maybe it'll come up again. Maybe they'll like hack into the executioner building and like display something.
That's possible, yeah.
Because the executioner head lady mentioned that like there was no reason to go back to executioner HQ for some reason. So like presumably that ball is just going to chill there for a while. So maybe it'll come up again.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out at the end of the next two episodes. But that's, do you have any other predictions for for the end of the show?
Um, ooh, for the end of the show,
Yeah, because I think the next time we talk about this will be at the end.
I think, I don't know. I think only one of Courier or Swindler is gonna survive, and I got a feeling it might be Courier. Although he did hit some death flags with the whole like I'd give my life to achieve the job.
Right.
Maybe Swindler will be the only one who makes it. Or maybe no one will. Maybe all of our Akudama will die, and just the brother and the sister will make it. Because they're immortal. Although that'd be a shitty ending.
That'd be sad.
Brother and sister are the only two left alive, and they're in Kanto, the place they didn't want to go to, and they can't go to the moon because the moon doesn't exist apparently.
Right. So all around, not very good times for our characters.
Yeah, this is gonna be a dark ending. There's no world in which I think this has like a happy ending. Because we were also predicting that Kanto is gonna fucking suck.
Right.
So it's not even like they're going to like the utopia town of like everything is cool there. Like our prediction is Kanto's gonna fucking blow. So they're gonna be stuck in a shitty town with no way to get back, and also everyone's gonna die.
Well, we don't know if they'll get stuck there. They could always go back.
It's true. Maybe the maglev train works in both directions.
Like, how else does it get back?
I don't know. I mean, we never really see like passengers going in both directions because you don't see passengers going on it at all. So we don't know necessarily that like you can ride it in both directions, just that the train
Oh.
goes in both directions.
That's true. Well, we'll find out when we find out. So, something I should mention is next episode is the last episode of Moriarty for this season.
Okay.
So that means we will get the end of that arc, and then that's basically it for.
All right.
But anyways, it's our episodely, daily. I don't know. It's,
Weekly?
Weekly. It's time to talk about what we want to sell out to.
All right.
What do you want to sell out to, Nick?
I'm gonna sell it to a word. I'm gonna sell it to the word fakakta because it's just a solid word in every way. It doesn't need to have like a specific definition. You can just kind of just point to stuff and be like, "It's fakakta." Is something not going right? It's fakakta. You know,
Is that
if
some
things are just
Italian
sort of like
word?
mediocre, your week's going like it could be better. It's fakakta. It's a fakakta week. You know, you can just sort of describe like anything that's sort of generically like it could be better or like things are going like a little bit wrong. You just say it's fakakta.
All right.
It's a solid word. I think it's a solid word in that it's both fun to say and like it just sort of works all the time. It's a great word to say. It makes you feel better about like things are kind of shitty. So I'm gonna sell it to the word fakakta, because you know when things are going wrong, when things are fakakta, it's fun to talk about it at least.
Well,
What would you like to sell out to?
It's an interesting sell out. I'm gonna sell out to a Digimon. Oh god, which one am I playing? I'm not playing Cyber Sleuth. I'm playing Hacker's Memory.
The card game or the video game?
Oh, the video game, but
Okay.
I have the card games. I'll sell it to card games next season.
Okay.
Is there enough? Anyways, I recently like picked it back up because I just got bored. I was like, I want to play a video game, and I don't know what to play. So I just like I fucking picked up my PS Vita for like the first time in fucking months, and I was like, all right, what was I playing last? And it just opened up Digimon, and I finally like figured out how like this core mechanic works. After playing it for like 50 hours, I was like, oh my
Okay.
god, this makes it so much more interesting. So now I know how to plan things to evolve my Digimon correctly.
Okay. That does seem like a very important part.
Which, in my opinion, that's like the core part of the game is like just not solving this little puzzle, but like getting every single Digimon, just fill out the fucking Digimon roster. Fuck the story because I don't even remember what's fucking happening. I don't really give a shit. Exploring the world fucking sucks because it's all just. Oh my
It's turning into a very interesting sellout.
I mean, I love. Okay, so everything aside from the stuff that I was about to complain about, it's fucking fun. Like I like it. Like going through like all the Digimon paths. That's actually really fun, and I fucking love it. I wish that some of the like locations looked better, cause imagine playing an RPG where you walk around a forest, right?
Mhm.
and then you get to the next level, and it's a forest, but it's a little dark. It's still green, but it's a little darker shade of green. And then you get to the end of
Okay.
that, and then you get to the next. You get to the next one. You get to the next level, and it's a red forest.
Oh, okay.
Then you get to the next level, and it's the green forest again.
Oh,
It
okay.
all looks the same. There's no locations. It's just a differently shaded color of like cyber stuff.
Okay, yeah. That's
It's
kind of
very
disappointing.
disappointing. Because like in some of the other games I played for Digimon, like there were actual like locations. There was like an Arctic location. There was a fucking jungle. There was like a cemetery. There was like a canyon. There was a mine. There were all just these cool pieces of places to explore, and this is just ones and zeros and a weird looking platform, and that's it. But aside from that, the game's fun. Well, yeah, evolving your Digimon's fun.
Okay. As
That's
long
my
as you
thoughts.
understand the core gameplay loop that lets you evolve them in the way that you want.
Yeah, and you know, god damn those locations. Some of the characters are pretty fun, and yeah, that's about it. I guess that's episode 117 or whatever episode number this is because I completely lost track.
Yeah,
I get better internet tomorrow, Nick.
you get better internet tomorrow. Well,
I
it's not
do.
today, and you still haven't uploaded like a fuck ton of the episodes, so
I'll do it tomorrow, or
yeah, sure you will.
I'll do it
That's,
tomorrow.
that's what you probably said last week when I annoyed you about it.
No, last week I said I'd upload it next week, and guess what, Nick? Tomorrow's next week.
I hate you more than I hate
Two
those
weeks
people.
ago I said I would upload it that day. That was I was wrong. That was me
Okay.
lying.
Okay.
But last week I wasn't lying. Anyways, have a good day, night, evening, whenever you're listening. Oh, well, you're not listening
Insert your
to
current
this.
time here.
Yeah.